G'day listeners, welcome to Bar Karate. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's time to talk sailing for another week. It's a great thing for me, I love doing it and I love doing it with some really cool sailors, but unfortunately I have to share the mic with two of my idiot mates. So let's bring the first one in.
Greetings, exalted one.
Mr. Brett Perry.
Willpower is my word of the day.
Oh, willpower, that's two words.
Well, no, that's a word with an apostrophe in it, thingy bob. What do you call it? Hyphen. 2 cartons of beer you've had all week. And you're having just had your second beer now.
Yeah, well, I wanted to wait for you blokes, but
it's impressive.
Yeah, well, my wife likes a skinny Jordan, and I'm not that at the moment. So.
No, very proud of you.
Let's bring in the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Bice.
How good was it, mate?
How good?
The tint canning day. It must have been phenomenal. I've looked at the stats from the live feed that you did, and quite a few viewers. And I went yachting yesterday, and it was all the talk at the bar. It was, everyone, they're wanting it. They're wanting the beer. So, we're looking forward to distributing.
All I can say is it felt like I don't have kids, which is wise, but it felt like giving birth, like I was watching my first child come out, like it was exciting. It's super cool looking can just there. I know no one can see it except for the people that are on the hookup, but I was just saying for the listeners, I actually just poured myself a beer in the glass so the boys could see the colour or the clarity of it, the way it looks in the glass, and I just said, I can't bring myself to crush the cans. They're so pretty.
Well, the good news is it looks like a beer, everyone. So we're halfway there. And so I started my campaign at the Adelaide Sailing Club yesterday and asked them, do you guys stock bar karate, the sailor's lager? And the bar lady's like, what? Sorry? And I got everyone who was going up to get a beer to ask the same thing.
Yes.
So the campaign's well and truly begun. And, gentlemen, got something for you.
Oh, yeah.
Once the beer arrives in SA and we start distributing, if anyone sees me in either the Defender or the Series 1 Land Rover, I will pledge to give them a cold bar karate sailor's lager.
Oh, so you're going to have them in the car?
It doesn't matter what time of day. I'm going to pledge, and they must drink it on the spot. Okay?
Yeah.
So
make sure you get a video library of all of that.
I've installed the fridge in the Defender, got the solar panels running. No, she'll be on ice in the Series 1, but if you do see me broken down on the side of the road, I'll just get that in before Jordan does. But I will have beer on board. Definitely not going to promote drink driving, but if you do see me, no problem.
Beauty. That's a great one. I love the other thing is that going up to the bar at the yacht club and saying, can I have a bar karate sailor's lager, please? I think that's just mandatory for everyone from now on.
That's the deal. That is the deal for sure.
We have regattas that have come to us. People running their regattas have come to us and said, yep, we want to run with bar karate, the sailor's lager. So we're working with them on that. But now it's just the yacht clubs. And so, we'll just have a consistent supply. So that's good. All right.
Yep.
Anything else? Anything else?
Just well done, mate, this week. Getting the beer out there.
It's exciting.
Getting it out there for the viewers as well.
Yep. Guys, we've been going through this little program of bar karate and it's getting bigger and bigger and better and better. And one of the things I sort of noticed is that our listeners really respond to the adventure stories we've had, like Sandy McKinnon.
Not only the listeners, but how about us as well?
Yeah.
I mean,
And I mean, we've got a core that love the elite stories, but the adventure stories really take off amongst people. So we had a brainwave this week. We needed to find one where we could combine both. And that's what our guests are this week. We've got the elite and we've got the adventure all rolled into one. And it's exciting time. So I'll just bring them straight in immediately. We want to welcome Mara Stransky, who is Australian team member for the laser radial at the Tokyo Olympics, her first Olympics, and her father, Andrew Stransky, sorry, Andrew, who has just released his book, Windward to Fantasia. Welcome to Barcarata, you two.
Thanks, guys. That's certainly not the worst butchering of Stransky we've heard before, so don't worry about that. All the time.
Well, so congratulations to both of you, really. You know, like Mara, you know, making the Olympic team, just amazing. And Andrew, you know, producing your first book. It's just it's such a cool thing.
Yeah, it's pretty good times for us, I suppose. All the hard work of Mara training and me riding away, it's all coming together, really.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, this is a story we can't tell without just telling the whole. You know, you can't just touch a piece of it and just tell the story. But let's get the cool thing about Mara out first. So, Mara, you started racing dinghies at 16. So what was the first time you started racing dinghies by yourself? Was that in a laser?
Yep. I started actually in a full rig at Tinkham Bay Yacht Club. And I hadn't raced ever before, and I had a full rig and a radial, but everyone there was they were all master sailors and they were all in the full rigs, and I really didn't like getting beaten, so I just thought I'd put the full rig up, and I got absolutely smashed in anything over about 5 knots. But under 5, I was an absolute weapon, and I sort of bounced around in that for about 6 months. And then eventually one of the coaches from Southport Yacht Club at the time came up and was like, after he'd found me capsized for my 19th time getting out the Southport Seaway, and he's like, what are you doing? You're not even 60 kilos. You should at least be in a radial. So then, I moved back into the radial and started my laser sailing, campaign at the Royal Queensland Yacht Squadron, where I proceeded to come last in the first few club races I did.
Well, so that was at 16 years of age. Now you're 21 and in the Olympic team.
5 years later.
Pretty amazing.
Just
story,
for those out there, just for you, BP, just doing the math for you, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I was getting stumped at 18. I was like, I lost it after that.
But yeah, my God. And having not raced before, it's a whole lot to take on and filter in and out for 5 years.
Yeah, I guess I'd been sailing sort of my whole life, and we'd spent quite a lot of time racing on the cat that we live on, the 50-foot cat. So I had some idea of how all that business worked. It was just sort of getting used to actually being in charge of the boat myself, and not having anyone else to blame, and not having handicappers to point the finger at after a race. So it was a lot to take in, but I think I sort of knew I had a lot of catching up to do. So put a lot of time and effort in.
Do you have to pinch yourself to think that you're now going to be representing Australia in the Olympics? Was it when you first started? Was it always going to be that way, or was it just it's just happening?
Not really. I don't think I ever really thought about the Olympics that much. In the beginning, it was just I had so much on just in general. It was really only in the last sort of 18 months that it became even close to reality for me. But even then, it was sort of it's always been a very, very distant dream. And even this year, when I did get selected, people were congratulating me, and for quite a while, I was sort of like, wait, what? What are you congratulating me for?
Yeah, wow.
Because it was such a short period of time where I thought I was actually going this year. It was less than a week before the Olympics was postponed.
Yeah, we've had quite a few Australian Olympians on in this period that are all sort of going through the same thing. How are you handling it, this fact that you would have been sailing now or this time of year, and now you've got another year to wait? What do you
I think initially my initial reaction was just that it was fantastic, because for me, a whole year is like a fifth of the whole time that I've been in the laser again, on top of what I've already had. So for me, that was almost a best case scenario. Obviously, after a while of sort of being on the grind, more or less by myself in the laser, and I think the thing that as laser sailors we like to hold on to that makes us superior to other classes is the quality and of competition. And we're not really getting that at the moment. So it is hard, but at the same time, there's a lot of positives in the extra time to prepare. So, yeah.
So is that along the lines of the NACRA guys telling you that they're doing 17 knots upwind? And you're like, no, we've got the quality of competition.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, sometimes we're grasping.
We might do 4 knots, but...
but we do like to pump up our fleet size. Being like,
Oh, dear.
how many boats did you beat today?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I like it. Well, I will say, Mara, you're coached by Ash Brunning, who's a great coach, and I was fortunate. I spent one day behind you in a boat when you just jumped in to do some match racing, and you impressed me straight away. Like you just that confidence you have on a boat. It's not common, and whether that's because of growing up, and I suspect the Australian selectors see that in you, that ability. The way you operate on a boat is really rare. So it was a no-brainer for me when I heard you'd been selected. I thought, you beauty, because this lass is going to just keep getting better and better. So, don't doubt yourself.
Oh, good. I like your confidence. So.
I've got a lot of confidence in you. Don't you worry about that one.
No, that's good. If you saw it in a match racing scenario, you're one of the rare ones, because that's like my deep, dark fear.
Yeah, well, I wasn't talking about your match racing ability. I was talking about your ability on a boat. Let me just clarify down a little further. But
okay, that's good.
But like every time I just said, let's try this, you were, yep, no problem. So the thing that, before we bring your dad in, the thing that I think is super cool and ties this whole thing is, now, you ready for this? Your first sail was a transatlantic crossing. That's correct, isn't it? You went from the Canaries and across. That's
yeah. Apparently, I spent it in my green bathtub, but I can't say I really remember very much of it.
Well, let's bring Dad in.
Perfect segue.
Do you remember that? Like the first that I really have to ask this question, Andrew. Like we'll go back to the start of you guys and how you got to where you were, but Mara comes along. Caroline, I think, is your wife. Carolyn
Yes.
or Caroline?
Carolyn.
Carolyn is your wife. She's gone back to Australia to give birth, and then you've gone from the Mediterranean to the Canaries in your boat, and then they fly back and meet you in the Canaries, and you cross the Atlantic. That's the gist of it. Is that correct?
Pretty much. We actually did sail down to the Cape Verde Islands first, and it started out a lovely couple of days. We had beautiful weather. And then it picked up to quite a big following breeze and big seas. And I was feeling quite seasick. and Mara was, we got all these flying fish aboard one night. The whole boat was covered in fish, and I was feeling sick. And Mara got up, having had a lovely night's sleep, and then wanted me to cook them for her, all beans, which I had to, being her father, and that actually made us feel a lot better. And like she was straight into it. She was a natural, loved it.
Yeah,
but it was a pretty harsh sort of trip, that, and then we charged off across the Atlantic. We did have a water maker, so she had her bath that she would sit in or demand every day. She was very demanding.
Still is.
It was very demanding for us. Like we were having a lovely
prepared.
time sailing around the world, loafing about, reading books and living a life of leisure. And suddenly she turned up and we had to just do everything for her all of a sudden. It was rather a shock, really.
No,
Don't blame me, mate.
It hasn't stopped. We're still here.
Kids, Jordan says that about our beer.
Yeah.
You like your beer.
Demanding, yeah.
Take over your life. And
Now it's all about you. He holds it in his hand.
Yeah.
No time for me anymore, he says.
Yeah. So
Yeah, just you wait.
just on that Atlantic crossing, did you go across the equator on that one? Do you remember?
No,
I
you're
didn't
just
think-
coming like to Grenada to the West Indies.
Caravan.
So you're like 15 degrees north.
Yeah. So when was Mara's first crossing of the equator? How old was she?
Not until we sailed to you crossed at the Galapagos when you're going out to the Galapagos sometime. So she just learnt to walk.
Yep.
She learnt to walk in the Cologne Yacht Club before we went through the Panama Canal. So then we went to the Galapagos, and there's where you crossed back to Southern Hemisphere. So she was just on one.
Bicey knows where I'm going.
Mara, what was it like when your father strapped you to the backstay and poured flying fish and a bit of a freeze dried over you for the initiation?
And cut all your hair off.
Gave you a buzz cut.
Yeah. I think I already came pre-prepared with the lack of clothing and lack of hair. So I think I did it pretty well.
Yeah, good preparation.
Fully organised.
Oh dear.
Got you on this one, Dad.
Did you initiate it? Did you do any initiation with your little baby?
I don't know.
Well, did King Neptune arrive on the boat or not?
Yeah.
We didn't really get into that, I must say.
Probably forgot.
Yeah, no, well, you're right. You got away. So we got you and Bicey have escaped.
We did try strapping into the mast a few times when we were coming to dock.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
she didn't like that at all and screamed out.
All right, well, let's bring in the discussion about, you released this book, Andrew, and this is one of the things that is exciting, it is a big year for you guys, and you released the book which is called Windward to Fantasia, and it is really a story of the adventures that you guys have had. You described it as a cross between Treasure Island and the zen and art of motorcycle maintenance with a bit of Harry Potter thrown in. You're just trying to cover off every market there, aren't you, mate?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I find it very hard to define, really. I don't really like thinking of it as a memoir or putting it in the non-fiction section, but yeah.
It kind of is.
Well, true. It actually is. It actually starts with Mara being conceived in the Red Sea in Zabagad Island, and it sort of goes right through. So it's a lot of the story about Mara. I tried to use her there. Well, it goes right through until she has the dream about going to the Olympics.
Yeah.
Age 12.
You had the same start though. You started your life sailing around on your parents' boat for 8 years, didn't you? Is that right?
Yeah, I did. I was going to say it was my dad that started it all out. He had no experience of sailing, and he was a dentist in England, and he started in his lunch hour to read the Admiralty book on how to celestial navigate, and he bought a wooden boat, and they started to learn sailing on the Norfolk Broads. So there was a lot of bumping into reeds and worse things. He was pretty amazing, really, how he just, back then they had no idea of they didn't have the sort of information we have now about learning to sail.
Yeah.
They have
did it.
They have this one story of they hadn't quite got the hang of it yet, and they weren't quite sure where they'd ended up. They had their boat eventually built in the Netherlands, and they were sort of blundering around in the lakes over there, and they came into this port following a fishing boat because they couldn't figure out where they were, but they were too embarrassed to ask, so they had to go up the street and buy a postcard. It turns out they were in Medemblik, which is the story I hear every time I go there.
Yeah. That was their first voyage on their boat, the 35-foot steel boat they had built.
Yeah, right. Wow. Well, I can tell you what, there's a couple of South Aussies who could have used a bit of celestial navigation in the last week or so, two down here, the ones that got lost on their boat.
Yeah.
But so where's it go from that? You get brought up on a boat. Do you then have the dream yourself to do that for your own family and kids?
Yeah, absolutely. That's where it happened. My deepest memories were crossing the Pacific Ocean as an 8-year-old, and we would just spend all our time snorkeling. We actually used to do shell collecting, which isn't the best thing these days, but we didn't know back then. But yeah, we used to snorkel, and it was just, I thought life was heaven, you know. We spent all our time at the reef and that was the sort of memory that sustained me through doing high school back in Australia, when life was suddenly a lot different. We came back and lived in Balmain, Sydney, and life was suddenly tough. But I sort of hang on to that memory while I was getting beaten up by kids, these footy kids from Balmain, and that was what I think. I always was going to go back to that.
Go back to the sailing.
And was that was the trip across on the 35-foot steelboat, or your old man had upgraded?
No, they had that boat. Yeah, they had that built in Holland, and did a couple of years in the Mediterranean. Sailed out to the age 4. I sailed out to the Caribbean, and then we stayed there for 4 years in the Caribbean. And that was all beautiful life too. Like, I had a fairy tale beginning, really, with all that sailing, and then we landed in Sydney.
And had to go to school.
And had to go to school.
Well, I know exactly where you are, Andrew. I live in Drummoyne, so I know Balmain very well.
It was tough back when I went to school there. Like, all the kids were rugged.
Working
class footy kids, and they all beat me up, and I was
West Tigers,
an innocent little sailor boy.
The West Tigers.
Didn't know anything about all that.
Okay, bouncing to you then, Mara. So your father's given you this opportunity, I guess, because he had the same opportunity. Do you look back and have fond memories, or a particular one that stands out?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, the first part of the trip was before I was even 2, so I don't really have that many memories of that. But then since then, we had a fairly eventful time in the Med when I was about 4. And then we went cruising in Asia from sort of 11 to 13, and that was probably one of the most incredible experiences of I probably will ever have in my life. And just that whole era of cruising and racing in Asia was a highlight for me, and I can't wait to get back there eventually. And
so you've succeeded, Andrew. Well done.
Yeah, I'm rather amazed, really, that she actually followed me into sailing. Like, it's been amazing that she just did that. You know, a lot of sailing families would like their children to follow them. But somehow she did. Like, that was my dream even as a kid. I used to sail lasers, and I sort of thought I could go to the Olympics, but never.
You must be
never got that way. But
you must be super proud, though. I mean, you must be feeling the excitement as well, living it through her.
Oh, it's just fully amazing to have it all happening there.
Yeah,
it's been fairly. I'm amazed that she's had the gumption to keep on going. Like, in the early days, it just seemed like she could never get that good. It's tough. The lasers are so tough. Like,
thanks.
Speak it how it is.
It's a tough leap to work through.
Oh yeah, no, it's 100%.
Absolutely.
It's a long way up. And so just seeing her get up each time and come out of these regattas where she'd been beaten, and if it was me, I would have given in, but she kept on going. Oh, I was amazed and very proud of that.
Yeah, very good.
So we'll come back to the laser, Andrew, but when you had in your mind you're going to do these adventures, talk us through what boats you actually took the adventures on with.
Oh, well, when I was in high school, my dad bought an Adams 13.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like Joe Adams's fast cruising boat. And, and we did 3 Sydney Hobarts in that when I was in high school. And then when I left high school and dropped out, I actually sort of stole it from him and thought I'd go off cruising in that. And I met Carolyn, and we got as far as Cairns. We're all set to go to New Guinea, but then by that time, Dad was like,
chasing you down.
Can't have my boat. And he wanted it back.
Oh, no.
It was most unreasonable.
Most kids were stealing the Tirana, doing a few bit of circle work on the local oval. I'll take Dad's Adams 13.
Right.
That was Coxie, by the way.
But eventually,
Andrew, how long did it take him to realise you'd stolen it?
Yeah, it took him a while.
Where's my son?
He called the Coast Guard, and they came and accosted us, almost arrested us.
Wow.
Oh, God.
But eventually, we did build a catamaran briefly, a Crowther 30, and sailed that round the Pacific. We built that quite quickly in Mackay. Built that in 1 year and sailed that around the Pacific. But by this time, my dad thought we were pretty good by then, and he wanted us to build a boat for him, which was a mistake. And we spent 4 years building him a 48-foot yacht. But then we did manage to buy the Adams from him, which I thought would be a great boat to. I always loved that boat, and that's the boat we sailed around the world in.
Oh, wow.
For like 17 years, wasn't it?
Was that the glass version or alloy?
The glass ones, yeah, out of the mold, smoked sandwich.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful sea boat. But even as we set up on that adventure, I was thinking, geez, they're hard to keep on track. Like, they're very narrow and they yaw about. And my mind went back to the little cat we had and how straight that tracked and how steady it was. So during that voyage is when I actually started to design the boat of my dreams, the cat. I thought it'd be nice to have the comfort and the speed and the boat that would go straight without all the steering. Like the Adams was a hard boat to keep on track. You know, we had to work at it all the time with the self-steering vane.
And that boat of your dreams you're currently sitting on. Is that right?
Yeah. So then I designed that out of my head. Like
and I can't believe you had the forethought to install Wi-Fi on board, especially for this call.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
All that time.
And that all came along the way, and life on board just got better and better.
So
in the early days, we were so isolated. We had to get post rasante mail, and we're talking a couple of months communication with people that way. And now it's fantastic. It's the same as being in a house now. We've got all this, got Netflix even. We've got it all on board. And water makers, and like it's just like being in a house.
it is
Wonderful.
This little apartment out on the water.
It's a nice boat though, Fantasia. Like I think our first interaction was when I think I sent you a note and said, you know, who designed that boat? I quite like it. And do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it hits all the right things. When I looked at that boat, as soon as I sort of thought, oh, that's because you know we're all quite picky when it comes to what we want in boats. You know, I've got really firm ideas of what I want in my.
You should hear how terrible Mara is about being strict on what she likes.
Oh, okay. Go for it.
Go ahead, please.
Really?
Oh, no.
Don't start them.
Very few make the cut. It's mostly I just let everyone know what I don't like. I'm not quite sure what I do like yet. But
Start,
I'm
Mara.
very certain of what I don't.
We'll help you.
This process of elimination.
Come on. Throw them out there.
Where's Fantasia on the
He
list?
mostly likes Fantasia.
Yeah, no, I think I've got a bit of a soft spot for Fantasia. It ticks most of my definite no's, like bridge deck clearance I can't stand, and anything that has unnecessary height above the cabin, like any of that, like upper deck
Paraphernalia.
seating, that's just paraphernalia that needs to go.
I hear you clucking, big chicken.
Yeah, no, all the unnecessary stuff just can't have it.
Yep.
Can't have more than one toilet. That's just point.
There you go.
Well, you'll be pleased to know, Andrew, that when Jordan did see your boat, and we often talk about all these different boats as well, and he's straight on the phone, I've seen one of the best boats I've ever seen, the best design, because we often talk about different styles and different ideas. And I actually was lucky enough to see it one time when I did visit Jordan up on the Sunshine Coast, and you were moored there or close by.
I
The
think,
Lullaby, perhaps.
I
In
reckon-
the Lullaby, I think.
I think you're anchored in the river at one stage. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's not talking bullshit.
It is impressive how many people actually do come up to us and say how good it looks, and
What is it actually? A Stransky 55 or?
pretty much that's it. 7 Cs, 50 I call it. But I'm always amazed no one else has gone and built one, because it's just such a remarkably good sea boat, and it's just so fast.
That's what you want. And
Never ceases to amaze me how fast it is.
yeah,
Quite scary, really, how fast it wants to go all the time.
it could be you two on it, driving it hard.
Yeah. I'd say.
Even when
Usually
you
we're cowering inside, staying nice and dry.
trying to slow it down, it's just a flyer. And it just goes so straight, like it never wants to hobby horse, never wants to bow in. It's got something really good about it.
Beauty.
Now, going back to Jordan talking about your fabulous story, the both of you, and he was telling me, one, about the boat, and two, that you follow Mara around, or you go to regattas, the laser regattas, on the boat for Mara.
Yeah, we have. We've done. We've been to Adelaide Nationals, Melbourne, Tasmania, and then back to Melbourne. So it's been kind of fun doing that. We would have never really sailed down to Adelaide.
Yeah.
If we, just it's driven us to do what we wouldn't have done otherwise.
We were just trying to decide if we'd go around the bottom or around the top to get to Perth for this Nationals, but got to wait another year now.
I was kind of pleased that happened, because it's a long haul to Perth, really.
Sure. And Mara, the davits on the back could handle the laser quite well.
Oh, that's where we started putting it, but then eventually I started breaking all the bits on the laser that you actually clip onto. So now they just get hoisted up on a kite halyard and sit on the bow. So you have one on each bow. It's pretty handy. It's just like it was designed for it.
They fit really well.
I think that's
hardly noticed them there.
I think that's a pretty cool story in itself.
It is, isn't it?
You get delivered to your events on your catamaran.
It is very cool.
Yeah, it's quite.
Rigging
I don't know
out
that there would be anyone in the world. There wouldn't be anyone in the world who would do that. I wouldn't be thinking.
Actually, how do you rig it? Do you just rig it on the deck and throw it over? Is that how you do it, or you put it in the water then throw the rig in?
It goes in the water, and then you do some things in the water, and then you rig your sail, then put it in, and then you sort of.
But the hard bit is putting on the clue strap while the boom is boat's roaring around. You have to thread in the clue strap.
Yeah.
And that was in the beginning. I don't know. Mara could do it. I found it terribly hard. Right. But now I'm quite good at it, actually. She doesn't do it anymore. Only I.
You rig the boat.
It's got that level, has it?
Come off the ramp.
Just while we're talking, just for the listeners, have a look and just Google Fantasia catamaran. It's a beautiful looking boat. So check it out.
There you go.
So you better get ready, because you're probably going to sell one now.
Yeah. Well,
hey, get the fact.
I think people are put off by all the work it takes to build one. And
oh yeah.
But one thing you will see when you Google is a lot of pictures of someone doing a handstand. What's that about?
Oh, that's me.
Yes, Mara, yes. You're quite renowned for a couple of things, so let's just Bicey's beautifully handballed you that one, and you've dropped it. So pick it up and run with it.
I wasn't ready. Go again.
Go again, Bice.
Yeah, I think it was just because I was so unphotogenic and camera shy, but handstands were one thing that I did do. So when I get asked to do something, that was my go-to. So it was a bit embarrassing.
So let me get this right. You're living on a boat and you think the best thing to do is a bit of a hobby. I know my kids start doing somersaults and handstands on the lounge room floor, right? But you're living on a boat that's moving the whole time. And I'm thinking in the cabin, there's not a whole heap of room to be practicing your handstands, but you've got it down pretty well.
It's actually almost perfect. I did used to do gymnastics as sort of my major sport before we went cruising. So I wasn't going to drop that. Like, one of my rules is you don't compromise. So, like, just inside the cabin, it was sort of designed for head height because Joe Adams is really short and there was never enough head height on long nose or Adams 13. So there's enough room in the cabin to do a full handstand and have your feet just not touch the roof. But, so that works really well. But there's also a lot of ropes to climb, and that was sort of the funnest part of gymnastics. So it's really like a floating gym. It's great.
You're right, actually. You pay big money to go visit those sorts of gyms these days.
Yeah,
Go
exactly.
climbing around. And
All in one.
I feel you probably were wearing less safety equipment than you have to go to those.
Well, there's only so much time in a day, and there's not enough to put safety harnesses on.
It was pretty tough on us as parents when she climbed up the main halyard, like free climb 20 metres to the top, and we didn't want to curb her enthusiasm, but at the same time we get a bit worried sometimes.
Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely.
Especially when she took her friends up there.
I remember New Year's Eve in Hobart one year, the owner of the boat I was on was saying a good crew should be able to free climb up the mast, and I had 93 beers on, and I said, yeah, I can do that. And he's gone, right, I'll bet you $5. So up I went, hand over hand up the mast when I was young and fit. I got to the top and I sobered up so quick. I don't know how you feel about it, Mara, but like...
She probably didn't have 93 beers on board.
I don't know. Like, just I looked down and I've just gone, gee, that's a long way down. Do you ever do that?
I did. One of my best moment, or not my best, probably my worst moment, was one early race week. It had been super windy all week, and we'd won before the last race, but we went out sort of just for fun. And we got the kite stuck all the way up, but the kite halyard is out, the halyard that comes out furthest up the mast, and there was no way we could get it down. And there was no other halyards except for one that came out about a metre below that. So just thinking I was on top of the world, being like, oh, yeah, I'll just free climb that last part, sort out the problem, and it'll be all good. Anyway, I got up there and realised there was no way in the world that I could actually sort out the problem. But at that point, I had the realisation of how far down it was and how unsupported I was. And then before I knew it, I'd sort of gone flying all the way out behind the back of the main, and I was like on the wrong side, and just, I don't know what I was hitting, but there was lots of it. And yeah, I don't think I've ever been quite so terrified in all my days. But,
That's it.
Yeah. I was actually attached this time.
So youth and exuberance left you that day and turned into common sense. It happens at some stage for everyone.
Yeah, no, it's never been quite the same.
Oh, okay.
I've got to say, like, everyone, you know, like all the top pros in the world listen to our podcast, and right now, all the top pros in the world that are doing ocean race stuff have got you marked down in their diaries now. They're all going, yeah, you're going to be doing the ocean race one day and you're going to be on our boat. So, you know, your pro career is sorted out in about 8 years' time when you want to swap across. I can tell you they'll all be thinking of you right now, all the stuff.
There you go, that was easy.
Well, you've got the experience. You've got a lifetime experience at sea and, you know, the determination. So that's good. The one I want to get to is... before we sort of get in depth, I love this story of the sail you did from the Gold Coast to Tangalooma. Now, for people who don't know Queensland, Tangalooma is a gorgeous little spot. It's a little anchorage on an island down off the coast of Brisbane. Beautiful place to go to. Nice shipwrecks there and everything. And the Gold Coast is about 70, 80 nautical miles further south. Is that right?
Yeah, something like that.
And you sailed it on your laser.
150 Ks.
Yeah, 150
yeah.
Ks.
Seemed like a really good idea at the time. Hang on, let's just an hour in, I decided it wasn't such a good idea.
Let's just add
late by then.
Let's add some detail.
A bit like then you've got to go uphill for an extra 5 hours to get home.
The forecast was only for like 10 to 15 knots, or maybe 20.
Yeah. The forecast was getting sort of worse and worse in the few days leading up to it, but it was sort of, I was going overseas and not that long, and the days were getting shorter and my windows were sort of running out. So, yeah, we just sort of went for it. And I think I was actually pretty lucky that my parents still let me go.
Yeah, because you had like 25 to 40 knots over the day from what I read.
Yeah.
And it had been
It's got windier and windier.
It got really windy in the first sort of hour. I had a VHF and I could hear all the fishers down the coast sort of saying how windy it was when it hit them. So that wasn't really helping. And then within sort of the first hour, it was already over 25 pretty consistently. And then, yeah, it was sort of 25 to 30, then 30 to 35. And then by the time I got to Cape Morton, it was sort of 35 plus.
It was dreadful for us because she kept on capsizing in the beginning.
wow.
Constantly.
Wow.
And Carolyn was getting so worried.
Yeah, most parents would be.
You were just cruising along on Fantasia alongside?
Yeah, we were nearby trying to keep pace with her with the jib up, I think, only.
And I think they just had to take all their sails down for a while.
We lost her for one stroke. Carolyn was ready to get her back, but there was no getting her back out there. Like,
No.
they've got the laser back on board.
Yeah, you'd throw the laser away, get your daughter and forget the laser sort of thing.
Yeah.
We'd never do that, but
Well, I used his laser, so
it was my laser too.
Well, that's
I didn't want to hurt mine.
Fair enough. But the other thing is, like, the wind had been blowing from the south for a few days, so you had a proper rolling swell, and you do have the option to go up the inside, but no, you went right out the outside, right with all the ships heading to Sydney. So yeah, it was proper ocean voyage in your laser.
Yeah, I mean, well, initially the idea came about because I hadn't been very fast downwind, and so I decided, like, I just needed bulk hours. So the most efficient way in my mind of doing that was doing bulk hours all at once.
Right.
And offshore is obviously way more fun.
Right.
And I'm not even sure what possessed me. It seemed like such a good idea. I hadn't really intended on doing the upwind, the 4 hours upwind at the end. That really sort of put a bit of a dampener on it. But the downwind part was incredible. It was like, apart from being incredibly terrifying, it was also probably one of the most fun things I've ever done.
Wow.
Luckily, I was there to get pictures of it.
You're definitely doing the ocean race at some time.
I mean, I was really quite glad to get off the boat and have a hot shower and go to bed. Obviously not an option I'd have in the ocean race, so I'm not sure how I feel about it just yet, but one day maybe it'll grow on me.
Cool. Good.
All right, well, let's just sort of your book, Andrew. There's a lot of stuff in there, about, I think Mara alluded to it before, where you had a bit of a bad time in the Mediterranean, where you're actually working and trying to save money for the build of Fantasia. There's all the talk of the time you went through Asia. There's pirates. There's all sorts. It's quite an adventurous book for those who are interested in reading. Is there an easy way to find it if people want to read your book?
You can, it's a bit hard to find on Amazon. They have all various, it's like divided into all the different countries. You have to find it on Amazon Australia if you want to order a paperback. But anywhere on Amazon, you'll find it there. Yeah.
And we touched on earlier.
Super easy.
We touched on earlier under which criteria, because you didn't quite know.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely. I had to put it in the non-fiction part. It's under sailing, of course.
Yeah.
When we were off air, Jordan, one of the things came up with the Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Now, is that a book you've read? Man of your knowledge?
Me, no, I haven't read that one. I haven't read that one, but I know about it. Yeah.
Okay, so Andrew and I have read that one. Would you believe this?
Yeah, no.
All right. So, Jordan, now it's you and I.
It was very special.
A great book. I love
book of like a philosophy of life.
Yep.
Well, I tell you,
read.
Andrew, you'll probably appreciate this. When I'm out having a bad day, I'm underneath a boat, or I'm trying to get a nut undone, or I'm trying to do something on a boat that's really annoying me, like really, really annoying me. I think about the book, and I slow down, and I get the spanner, and I look at the screw, and I look at the bolt, and I turn slowly, and I get back into it. That's it.
Wow, it had that much effect on you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I like to think my book ends with a very much Zen and the art of sailing type of finish.
I think that's a good way of putting it. So that's how we.
Why don't you go straight to the end? Just give us the final.
No.
No, I think we just found the new tagline: Zen and the Art of Sailing.
Yeah, there you go.
It's along
It is a
that
good one.
lines. I find it very hard to define. I struggle with that, and people ask me what it's about.
Oh, Andrew, we
Oh, give us a couple of snippets, Andrew.
Yeah, that's
just to get the listeners in
What's
purchase this book.
Well, I think really one of the most exciting bits is the bit where we're working on this, get this job to work for these rich Americans in the Mediterranean, skippering their 55-foot lagoon. And they contact us, and they're so nice, and they talk this boat up. It's got a 90-foot carbon mast, and
wow.
it's absolute glamour. And then when we arrive there, it's not got a 90-foot mast. It's got like a 60-foot mast, and it's total mess. And they are so horrible to us. Absolutely treat us like the lowest workers imaginable.
Yep.
So we've like packed up everything. The Adams is paid up for 2 years because we think we're going to sail around the world with them. And they've got a little girl same age as Mara, and she's so horrible to Mara. It's just an absolute nightmare. It's a great story. I think people love that, like how bad a time we had then.
Wow.
We had to just endure some terrible months with them.
Do you remember?
There's a nice bit in the middle of that when they go away and we have a bit of a holiday. But then there's the whole bit where we have to actually escape in the end. We can't even discuss it with them. Like we have to go sneak ashore in the kayak in the middle of the night with all our bags.
Full adventure.
I thought you were a bit young. I thought you were a bit younger than Ivanka Trump, Mara.
Yeah, I was 4 at the time, and I think I was really causing quite a lot of hindrance in this escape process because all I wanted to do was cry because it was 2 o'clock in the morning and just I didn't want to be up. But yeah, I do remember that night. Yeah, I was wet. And then I got left with some drunk Irish people, and yeah, the night.
We've all been there.
I had to go back for Carolyn and leave her with these drunk Irish.
Oh my God!
Get the rest of the staff.
Yeah, but that night we did end up sleeping in an olive grove, and that's still like one of my most like. It just makes me feel really cool when I get to tell that story.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're the just so you know, we're the 236th most popular comedy show in Ireland at the moment. So they might be listening. You could actually say good day to them.
Oh yeah, he'll be stoked to be part of it.
We thought we were a sailing podcast, but apparently we're a comedy show. It is pretty cool though. Like Mara, for you, you know. You've had this amazing life growing up. Do you think you've actually, I know it's hard to say stuff next to your dad, but do you think you've missed out or you've gained in life by this pathway?
I think it's been very different. And I did spend all of my primary schooling years like in a normal school, and everything then was pretty normal. So I did get that part of childhood as well. And then it was really only sort of 4 years of time that I actually remember that I was away from normal society. So I feel like I didn't really miss out on too much in that sense. And I certainly don't feel like I missed out on the whole high school experience because from what I hear from my friends, it wasn't always that great. Yeah. But it obviously has been quite different. But yeah, I like as far as I'm concerned, it was all different in a good way.
From a parenting point of view, Andrew, the schooling itself, I mean, I've just been through, we've all just been through this COVID thing and doing the homeschooling stuff, and I'm absolutely terrible at it. I'm going to admit it. I hated it. But how did you go, how did you keep that?
True. It was interesting because in the beginning, when Carolyn and Mara used to do it, and it was dreadful. They'd be squabbling away, and I didn't like it. I thought it was a bit of a waste, really, and so we just quit altogether. We didn't really do it.
Yeah,
it was much nicer.
There you go, BP.
We just went ashore and did things, and took it to villages. You didn't have time for even that if you didn't abandon the thing. So for a couple of years, she didn't do anything at all.
So not only do we have Zen and Art,
she did reading and maths, but
So not only do we have Zen and Art of the art motorcycle maintenance in common, we're in common there too because I gave up.
Yeah.
And that was only 2 months.
But when she came back and took it up again, when you came back to Australia and you had to do it, she was like straight to the top of the school. Got ducks of the Cairns Distance Education School, and so it didn't really hold her back.
Yeah, it's an interesting theory or discussion, I guess, goes on with a lot of parents about how it all pans out in the end. When you were doing the schooling, Mara, did you just sort of say no, not interested, or was it interesting, or did you do any of it on your own? And reading.
I think I always was really interested in learning. So when I wasn't officially in school, I'd sort of just devour every book that we had. Yep. And that ended up that I just ended up reading the engine manuals, and I'd read all these random I read the full Yacht Master syllabus, and I was ready to go for that when I was 11. And I'd just read everything. So I think in a way it was kind of good because it was self-motivated learning, and I was really interested in what I was reading, and which sort of, it was, I don't think I would, if I wasn't as self-motivated, it would have been a lot harder. And then when I came back to school, I actually really enjoyed that as well. But I also liked getting it done in my time, and I just thought it was much more efficient because I could I'd start really early and be finished by get up at sort of 4 and then be finished by midday, and then I could go sailing for the rest of the day. So it worked really well for me. And
just for the listeners out there, I can see Jordan right now. He's shuffling a few papers around. I think he's getting your contract ready, Mara, for the next ocean race.
No.
Just getting ready to sign you up, become your manager.
All right.
And I was just
doing a manager. I'm not very organised.
Yeah, we can do that.
Although having seen Jordan's technological.
No, you've already signed. You're already signed into the bar karate management team.
You're sort
I was actually going to say a second ago that you had quite a few people on the show, discussions over the period of the bar karate phenomena. And it is that how do we get into a Volvo Ocean Race? How do we do this? How do we get into, how do we get to become a professional sailor? And it seems like you are actually on that path. Having the knowledge of all of that you've got, it's just a no-brainer.
There you go.
Actually, where I was going, Bice, is I was actually going to just pull down there's a whole range of different educational theories on how you should educate people. And what Mara and Andrew have been through is Reggio Emilia. There is the theorist. What they did is exactly what that person, Reggio, theorised. So I was just trying to remember the name, and I needed to go to some notes that I knew I had lying around because that's the sort of guy I am.
That's the sort of guy you are. Yeah, right.
It's in the education
I'm still
pile.
like that now with the education, because now Mara's wanting to do a uni course.
Oh yeah.
I'm Mara, why don't you just go out and go for a walk or commune with nature? Why do you have to do that? You sort of a reverse psychology thing.
Yeah. But I mean, you don't need to turn up to universities anymore to do your uni course. It's much easier to do it remotely. You do everything over the laptop nowadays. So if you want,
I haven't been in once.
Yeah, what course are you doing?
Know what it looks like.
Well,
What course are you doing, Mara?
I'm doing engineering.
Oh, Jesus.
Tick that one off. You got that one ticked off?
It's going to take me a long time, but that's
how's
all
your
right.
calculus?
Sorry?
How's your calculus?
It's not too bad. It's the content's fine. It's just the having to deal with people.
Having to deal with people.
Bloody hell!
That is one of the biggest things in life.
Jordan Spencer's school?
the school of where you learn how to be dumb and smart at the same time.
Maybe. Sounds all right.
Wonderful, fantastic.
That's good. I mean, engineering is. She's effectively. The opportunity with engineering is everything, like all the top pro sailors in the world are engineers. So, if you want to make it to the top of one of the sail lofts, or if you want to design boats, or if you want to engineer a boat or masts or anything, you go look through all the major companies in our sport that are global. They're all the top of the tree are all engineers. So, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Which school are you at, Mara?
I'm studying at the University of Queensland at the moment. So, yeah, I figure of all degrees, it has quite a large crossover with sailing. So, yeah, it's something that I can actually get into
Yeah.
and not just think it's a waste of time.
Yeah, no, it works perfectly for the sport. So it's good. It's good. And then she'll be able to design and build her own boats as well, Andrew, whereas you've just done it by doing it.
Yeah. She's like following my dream, which is amazes me.
She's doing everything
Totally.
for you.
Yeah. I just. Yeah.
So speaking of building boats, the boat of your dreams, Fantasia, how long did that take you to build?
Well, once I sort of got the design worked out, which took me 10 years, it was 4 years, 3 months.
How many? What? And let's just go back, talk through the design process a little bit.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you've got this idea in your head, just doing sketches or writing down ideas, and then you just
as we
pulled it together.
started off on our world voyage, we were just past Cape York. I made an A4 plywood drawing board with a plywood T-square and just sat down every moment I had.
Wow.
Gradually gravitated toward the 50-foot cat and just thought, well, how did people do it? And I'd done elementary tech drawing at school and knew about top view, side view and that, and just took it from there. Just kept on thinking and pretty much figured it all out without any input. By the time I got back to Australia, I'd had it figured, and then I read books on it, and I saw that what I'd figured out was how it was done. It was all pre-internet, any of this. Even when I built it was pre-internet. I only just look at magazines and think, oh, that's how it looks. And so I had to think a lot, really, to do a lot of my own thinking, which I think was pretty good.
Definitely. Well, it's a pity you didn't know Jordan at that time, because he just would have said, oh, grab a piece of A4 paper, squeezed it at the short sides, and that's your hull right there.
True. I see that now. It's pretty simple in a lot of ways.
It is.
I agree.
You never know. Once we send the merchandise pack up, Andrew and Mara, that might be one of the T-shirts which are in there. So,
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
hey, that's a cool story in itself.
Yeah.
To go from having an idea, elementary tech drawing, then to put it down properly on paper and building it. It's phenomenal. It's fantastic.
And the first boat I ever designed and built was a 10-foot dinghy. And then I went straight from the 10-foot dinghy to the 50-foot cat.
So you started at the tender.
Yeah, I thought I'll do that to see how you do it, get an idea. And, of course, there weren't many people supporting my ideas along the way. Like, not many people believed that I would do it, and even Carolyn was a bit doubtful that I would, that she was behind me, thank goodness. But it was a big thing, like, to give up on a good boat and have this mad idea that I would build this cat.
Did you ever at any stage going, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah. There's a lot of doubts along the way, and like you saw so many people building cats and the bridge deck was too low, or they split up with their wife, or I mean there was no end of it where you looked.
But you were sorted there because you had Mara.
Yeah.
You can't have the bridge deck like that. Come on, Dad.
No.
Where are my lasers going to go, Dad?
and she was there somehow driving me on somehow.
What about?
I think.
What about the build? Tell us about that. Like, my dad built a few boats when I was in nappies, that age, sort of 2, and my dad tells the story of he'd pre-drilled all the holes along one frame, and I came along and put all the screws in so he could tap them in later on, and just being helpful. But I'd picked the screws being far too small, so I just pushed them all. I got these tiny screws and pushed them all into the holes. And apparently Mum had to stop him from killing me at one stage. So I'm wondering if Mara did the same sort of things in the build.
You were annoying then, mate. It still carries on.
It started. That's when it started.
I mean, Mara was pretty young, really. Like, She was dressed up as a fairy. She'd come home from school and dance around and more like that, you know, and do a bit of gymnastics on my
I think
all my
Dad,
stuff. And
I think Mara's given you a look like I wish you hadn't have said that.
she did sort of regret that she wasn't a bit older and more interested in the whole build. But every afternoon when she came home from school, she'd have a look and then she dragged me off to go and play somewhere. So she did keep me sane like that, which was pretty useful because it's a hard go.
Oh, absolutely.
Building that sort of work. It's constant and a lot of people crack up, but I think that was a good thing to have Mara there to
That's why I asked you, like, was there ever a point of this time where and a lot of boats don't get built, don't get finished, you know that?
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. Was there any ever a moment where you thought this is just not going to happen for me?
I never thought that, I must say. I had calculated it really well. I did my homework. I knew I had it all worked out. I had all the budget. So I was pretty prepared. I didn't just go into it blind and think I would do it, you know, and I had it so well figured out. I was quite...
How many hours, Andrew? Did you tally it up?
I think it was close to 10,000 hours.
Oh, good build.
Which the boat builders will tell you 5,000 hours, but it is a lot more than that.
2 hulls. Did you do it by yourself, or who was doing the fairing with you? Like, I'm assuming it was...
My partner, Carolyn, did help me a lot with like the big glassing job. She was pretty impressive to get in with the big beam glassing and any big glassing jobs. But the fairing was just me. Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't fare it that well, but I'm not like a manic fairer. I haven't fared all. Like I did like open weave. I did the decks like that. I didn't just the weave. That's why it's so light too. I didn't fair the decks. I used the weave as the tread.
You didn't do a fill coat.
On the deck. And on the inside it's like that too, which is quite effective really. Just the very sort of minimalist type of approach.
Fair enough.
I like.
Yeah. We're getting close. We're getting close to our hour. Just so you know, guys. I do want to ask one question. Mara, have you ever looked up what your name means? Do you know what your name means, or has your dad ever told you, or your mum ever told you what your name means?
No, I do know that it means the sea. I'm interested if you've got another.
Oh yeah, I got it all. I'm interested in what your dad or your mum picked. Whoever picked it.
From my knowledge, it's just Gaelic for the sea.
Yeah.
And when I was in Ireland, I saw it everywhere, which was kind of cool. But I assume that is.
Is that what it was from Andrew for Mara? Or?
Yeah, daughter of the sea. Yeah,
because it means in Malta and Syria, that sort of region, it means woman. But in Nigeria, it means beautiful. So it means probably you're a beautiful woman of the sea. Is the story?
Oh wow! There you go.
Bloody, you're good, mate. You are good.
You've really done your homework.
And
absolute romantic, isn't he?
I need to give you one more. In Hebrew, because my name's a Hebrew name as well. In Hebrew, it actually translates to bitter, but in Hebrew it means strong. It means strong.
Mum across the table is like, telling me she does know that, but I'll call bitter. It's
important.
A strong, beautiful woman of the sea.
Yeah, it's not bitter as in bitter like we understand it. It's bitter in Hebrew. It means strong.
Okay.
Yeah. So strong, beautiful woman of the sea is what your name means.
A bit better than bitter, beautiful woman of the sea.
And then in Japanese, it means gold medalist.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I made that one up, but we're gonna run with that one. Oh dear.
Good one. Nice one.
So what's the next adventure? I guess we're sort of at that stage, really, aren't we? What's the next adventure? Are you going to sail up to Japan?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, I'm a bit taken by that.
It's so cool.
Ian Murray suggested I should do that before she was given the nod, and that sort of stuck with me that it'd be good to do that. That'd complete the whole story, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All right, absolutely. Yeah.
Be there for the games.
You'd want to get out pretty quick after the games because it goes to typhoon season pretty quick.
I know. Well, it's typhoon season the whole time there. By the looks, it's a bit tricky to get there, but that'd be a good adventure. Hey,
For sure. For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure. All right. Well, that's cool.
but that's what we're preparing for. Yeah.
Well, any other questions, you two?
No questions as such, only to say, Andrew, what a great story, and congratulations on bringing up who's going to be a future gold medalist for Australia.
And Carolyn as well.
And for passing down all those good lessons that you learnt to obviously someone who is going to be one of the forces to be reckoned with the ocean race in the future. So
You guys can write my contract for me.
don't worry,
my
I've already written
resume.
it. Yeah, I'll send it through.
What do you want to say anything, BP? Or you got a
I
question?
was just continuing through the notes that were sent down, and I'm reading on here, and it says that I've just found another striking similarity, and that is that you've done the Darwin to Ambon yacht race, and I have actually done one of those myself. So there you go.
You and Andrew are best mates.
Hey.
We're buddies.
Yeah.
Way back.
Oh, it's some race, isn't it? It's really
It's a classic.
just an amazing arrival there.
I actually did that, Jordan, with David Higgins.
David Higgins. What boat were you
Yeah.
sailing on?
We sailed on a 38-foot Catalina, I think.
Oh, okay.
From memory. Yeah.
Wow. Good work.
Yeah. What I love. It was actually the last one, guys.
Probably took about
Oh, the last one.
three times as long as Andrew
It's
did
still
on
on.
Fantasia.
Well,
Yeah, we almost got the record in that.
remember
close to
Ambon went through that Civil War period.
Oh yeah,
So it was just the last one before that, and then
and now they've restarted
started
it.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
amazing place. Anyway,
Very cool.
my last little comment for the day.
All right. So from our perspective, though, I think that the truth is that obviously you two know me. You've seen my face, but the other two guys, we're all Barkarati is now on Team Stransky, and that's what we're calling it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So
Stransky.
Team Stransky. It sounds like a sausage we're putting on the barbecue. I will be honest.
We get a lot
You
of
get
that.
that often.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, we like that. So a Stransky goes well with the Barkarati Sailors Lager, which is
Certainly does.
Yeah.
But no. So we're 100% behind you guys, and anything we can do to make Mara the best sailor in the world is part of our program. So that's good, and we're wishing you luck. We are really happy to have chatted to you. We want to probably talk another 2 or 3 hours, but it's getting dark, and you probably want dinner right now. And I can hear my wife slapping around in the kitchen, so it's not far away. But
I got 2 grumpy young kids coming out saying, "Daddy, I'm hungry."
Yeah. So, yeah, we just wanted to say thanks heaps, and we're wishing you the absolute best of luck, 100%.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for your time, guys.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been awesome.
Yes. Thank you, Mara, Andrew, and Carolyn.
As the least
So,
famous people ever to be interviewed on
Yeah,
karate.
that's what I've heard.
No, not at all.
That
that's the
was
story.
great.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Well, that's all just changed.
Yeah,
That's short.
cool.
See you later, guys.
Cheers.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Great fun.
Gentlemen, that was a ton of fun. In fact, there was so much more to talk about. I didn't really want to stop, but we try and keep it to a certain time. And we didn't want to step on the book, Windward to Fantasia, which is obviously going to be a good read on Amazon to find it, on Amazon Australia. And we gave Mara a few tips off air just on how to psych out the opposition. So, watch out. Anybody who's sailing laser radials at the moment, she's going to come at you hard. We got no secret pro news this week, which is probably to be expected. But, Bicey, the Defy Azimuth was on.
It certainly was.
Oui?
But prior to talking about that, they had the speed trials.
Speed trials.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Let me just clarify for those who don't know what that is. For the IMOCA 60s, you know, the foiling 60s that go offshore, that's what we're talking about. Yep, go on.
And I must say, every time you see them and they start flying and they're doing stuff like that, it's like, this is so cool.
It is cool.
It's so cool.
But-
and it's a great thing that they're doing there, but flat water, nice breeze, cruising along, having a good time. What's going to happen in the middle of the sea? In the middle of the night in the Southern Ocean in less than a couple of months.
Do you know what would improve both those aspects?
I know what you're going to say. I know
T-fall on the rudder?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Got me.
Well, there was footage. I don't know if you saw it. Was it Cheryl that was going along and it just started going up and up and up and it just sat up almost like
chucking a wheelie.
High. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
All good.
So, the Azimuth. What impressed me, not to mention the podium we saw our good mate Jeremy Bayou on Cheryl take it out. Sam Davies second, Isabel Joschke third, and Clarice fourth. So 3 women, second, third, and fourth, which is fantastic. But what really impressed me was how close the boats were on the first 2 legs. Admittedly, it got really light coming into the finish, but they still finished in 44 hours, 500-mile race. But the boats smoking down, reaching, like doing over 20 knots, all sitting side by side was really cool. And great to see Sam Edward's boat leading the fleet for some time there and being right up there as well.
Our favourite
boat.
So
we're going to be glued to the screens come Vendée time.
Yeah,
and it was a pity we didn't see some of the others out there. And it's going to be interesting once we get Alex and the rest of the big, well, a couple of the others out there as well.
Yeah, if you Google DEFI space Azimuth AZIMUT, there's some great footage from the race, and just to see how the boats looked, and it is super cool. You're exactly right. It's 50 odd days till we can't move. It's a pity we don't have helicopters following the whole way around so we can watch the whole thing, but we're fired up.
Absolutely.
Certainly are.
Luna Rossa, I believe, is not far from landing in Auckland. Do you guys know that?
Yes, I do know that.
You got any insight on that, BP, at all?
No insight. I had a chat to Quirky during the week, and he was mentioning about Michele Bella's arriving, so the sailmakers are getting down there, so, it's all happening.
There's a nice bass beat going through our whole recording at the moment. I can't work out where that's coming from. Not here. It'll be good to see the boat starting to form up in Auckland. I'm not sure what the Poms are doing with their boat, and of course we'll have 2 US boats and the second New Zealand boat. We should actually chat to one of those guys and say what's going on. We should talk to a couple of the designers. What about Tim Colleen? Give us a ring, Timbo, and tell us what's going on with the boats.
Give us some inside goss.
Yeah, Timbo.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah. Or Tyson.
We're on a bit of NZ Secret Pro.
Yeah, let's just push all this bloody stuff aside. Let's just make it happen. The world wants to know, and the only way to do that is through us. Come on.
I don't know where that tapping's coming from, ladies and gentlemen. We'd fix it if we knew where it was coming from. BP, the Figaro, Solitaire de Figaro. The second leg's happened.
Fantastic result in general across the board. I mean, we had Sam Goodchild on a few weeks ago, and he had a great first leg, but the second leg he's come in and got himself a second place. So he's stoked. One of the things he was saying that he was couldn't believe, or had to pinch himself, that he was standing on the podium in between 2 of his heroes.
Yeah.
So I'm about to go through that, if you don't mind, and try and get these names right.
Good luck. It'd be easier if they're in Spanish.
No, they're not in Spanish. No Spanish here, actually, but I'll go through that in a second. Namal Lecliche on Bank Popular is coming first. Sam Goodchild second on Leighton. Now, the time is the incredible part about this fleet. Correct the time, obviously, I'd do it correctly, but it's 34 minutes behind him. But then from there on, it's like, it's only minutes between first and 10th. And then Jan Iles coming in third.
Yeah.
Really interesting to note that Alan Roberts, the guy with the really confusing last name, he had a good result.
The one that's really hard to pronounce.
Came in 12th, so we did mention him. So good on him as well. So look, it's really exciting stuff, and everyone is everyone in the fleet is holding their own. There's not a big distance between first and last, so it just goes to show how hot it is.
Yeah, it was super cool, exciting. There's 2 more legs to go. They'll be just about starting right now on the 3rd. So, yeah, good watching, good sailing. I mean, we're finally getting some sailing to watch, so it's good. Very excited about that. Obviously, Kiel Week's on at the moment. So things are sort of back and going in Europe a little bit, but Kiel of Ocker, which is traditionally freezing cold and super chock-a-block full of boats, is on. So something to go there. I did reach out to Wolfgang Hunger, Dr. Wolfgang Hunger. For those who know the dinghy world, he's won at Kiel Week, I think 22. He's won 22 times at Kiel Week. So
I think we discussed this. So that's just not on.
It's crazy, isn't it?
He's got to start sharing.
Yeah, got to start sharing. And the last thing I want to touch on, boys, beer sales. So I will say we did, as we said, a limited run. Looking at the numbers, we sold more than half. Yeah, probably 60% of the beer has been sold in 2 days. So that means 3 days, whatever it is. That means we do still have plenty of beer left, but you might want to get onto it. So how can they get it?
cheers@barkarati.com. So just email us or use one of the other messaging methods that exist these days. Whether you have our numbers, whether you're on Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever it is, just let us know what we're going to do. There will be a certain stock in Queensland, South Australia, New South Wales, because obviously that's where we're based, and there will be stock in Victoria as well at this point in time. We can't go anywhere else right now, but that's pretty good coverage until we start rolling into the next batch. Yep. But just remember, you all, as a purchaser of Bar Karate beer,
you have a responsibility.
You have a responsibility to get Bar Karate, the Sailors Lager, into your local yacht club. And if you succeed, let me know. And if that leads to sales, you'll be getting a discount code for further purchases of merchandise.
The contract actually is inside the carton. When you open your carton, you will receive that.
There's a coaster inside, and it's written on the back of a coaster.
No, that's not.
With the rules and the terms and conditions of buying this carton.
Yeah, so, and one of the tricks, obviously, if you're fans and you want to see it in your club regularly, is just go to the bar and ask, you guys got any Bar Karate Sailors Lager? That'd be cool. We'd appreciate that.
And if they say no, you can say, well, as it just so happens,
I
have one here.
Oh, what a coincidence.
It is actually the truth. That is what we're going to get everyone to say. So get on in there, ask if they've got it, and make it happen.
Well done, lads.
Yep.
Good week.
Yep.
Yeah, that was good, Mara and Andrew. It was really good. We've got, you know what I'm doing next week, or what we're doing next week?
No, tell me.
We're turning Japanese. We think we're turning Japanese.
Oh, are we?
Oh, I really think so.
I really think so. Yeah, more to come on that one.
Yeah, good one.
All right.
Nice one.
Okay, team.
Konnichiwa.
See you, everyone.
There.
Yeah.
Behind, don't look behind. Just a little time, I'm gonna make it right. I'm gonna live my life, I'm gonna live